Good morning, friends. Thank you for joining this morning. Your journey home meditation for the morning sit. And happy birthday, Robert Nesta Marley, the Honorable Prophet Bob Marley. He would have been, I believe, 79 today. You know, it's funny how small things, seemingly small things, can have such a great and lasting impact in our lives. I remember I was 11 years old, sixth grade. And my mother had taken a trip to Arizona to visit my sister and her newly born child, and my brother and his newly born child. And when she was there, my sister, I guess, was really into reggae music at that time. So my mom heard Bob Marley and thought, this is something I bet my son Mikey would really like. And so she bought a cassette tape of Bob Marley's Legend, and she brought it back to me. And, at that time I was listening to a lot of fluff music, right? I'm 11 going on 12. I'm listening to radio music mostly. Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusions 1 and 2, things like that. Good albums. But I had never heard anything quite like what she brought to me when she gave me that Bob Marley tape. And it went so deep into so many different layers of emotion, right? Listening to this voice, this like powerful voice come through singing about love and joy and anger and resistance and freedom. And in my 11-year-old mind, growing up in a very small, very rural town in Ohio and Indiana, lived on the border, so we moved back and forth. We moved a lot as a kid. And I had never heard of such amazing insistence upon liberation. And it really started striking very deep with me as a kid. And that eventually led to me becoming interested in Black liberation movements. And shortly thereafter, Spike Lee's X came out. And then, as at the age of 12, I was reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, which I couldn't grasp most of it, but the essence was there. The essence came through of this this world of existence that I was completely sheltered from in a lot of ways, and I even, I was sheltered from it, and I was it was hidden from me. I don't think it was intentional by my parents, but I don't know. But when my mom brought me that Bob Marley tape, it opened up a whole new sense of self for this kid. And I was the only kid in my junior high who would play reggae music at my birthday parties and get people to dance to reggae music. But the the essence of who Bob Marley was, what he was bringing, the force of um, he was a leader not because he set out to be a leader necessarily. Like he wasn't trying to take control of a group of people the way that politicians or somebody who crave and thirst for like power as dominance would. But he was a leader in this natural sense that people gravitated around him. And his message that he chose to use that power with was one of unity, love, liberation, and really the celebration of life and power of people coming together. And that always stuck with me. That's always stuck with me. I've always loved the music and I've always loved the message. And yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Marley. Um, and you know, the teachings that Bob Marley shared were universal in a lot of ways. A lot of the teachings were very universal. One of which I think is a fantastic lesson that we've been taught from countless teachers over time. But he said, you know, three little birds on his doorstep singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Uh, they told him, don't worry about a thing. Don't worry about a thing because every little thing's going to be all right. And while it's a really great hook in a song, it's a really great, this is what we can all sing together and it feels good. But also there's some deep layers of teachings about knowing who we really are within that context of what does it mean to not worry and what does it mean that everything's going to be all right. um, some could put on rose-colored glasses and say that, oh, that means we don't think about any of the negative or any of the bad, and that's not at all the message. That's not at all the message. That, and I can say that with some confidence because that's not the message Bob Marley was teaching in any of his other teachings. He wasn't teaching to ignore suffering. He wasn't teaching to ignore struggle or strife. But when he said don't worry about a thing, I think he was speaking to that greater truth that there is a deeper place of being that we are. And that cannot be touched by war. It cannot be touched by politics. It cannot be touched by poverty. It cannot be touched by enslavement or imprisonment. There's a deeper part of who we are that's going to persist through all of this. And one of the teachings of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, he goes into teachings, and these are thousands of year old teachings. He talks about the yamas and the niyamas. We've talked about those a little bit, and the yamas are these things that we restrain ourselves from, right? Like pranayama is the restrained breath. So the yama aspect is restraint. And one of them is asteya, and it means to not steal. It means not stealing. Non-stealing. Not stealing. It's not the same thing as saying don't steal. This is saying that to achieve and open up a level of liberation within the self, we must have as a core value non-stealing. And this is a touchy one sometimes because I also was raised on Aladdin. Got to steal to eat, got to eat to live. And so this is not a shaming uh, aspect here. This isn't about shame or guilt. This is about awareness, right? True teachings are never about telling you, what not to do or what to do explicitly. True teachings are telling you to be aware of what it is that you do and how that affects you. Be really aware. Be really, really conscious of the life that we live and how that feeds us, what it feeds us, right? Because if we live on a steady diet of junk food and bad TV, we're going to suffer. And like so, if we live on uh, a way of being that cultivates awareness and says, hey, I'm aware that when I do these things, it causes pain and suffering that is unnecessary. So I'm going to be mindful of my actions so that I can help to relieve suffering wherever I can instead of compound it. And my friend Matt Dixon he's a hypnotherapist, hypnotist, and a yoga instructor, and just an all around really, really beautiful soul. So you can look up Matt Dixon, Dickson. He's based out of St. Charles, Missouri, so that'll help in your search. But he had a teaching recently that he shared about the non-stealing teaching in the Yoga Sutras, where he talked about uh, allowing people to compliment you, um, and not to take away their thank you, because that's stealing from them. They want to compliment you. They want to thank you. They want to celebrate you. Um, to diminish that is to diminish their capacity or their ability to feel these feelings, which is a form of stealing. And I thought it was a really great teaching. But there's another layer and understanding of non-stealing as well, where it fits in another place in our lives, and that's worry. It's this thing that steals us away from being present in the moment, and it steals our ability to allow for the best possible outcome, right? Um, and that's not to say that we aren't realistic. Of course we are. Of course that we can look at bare cupboards and understand, oh yes, this is suffering right now, that we have no food. I have children to feed. This is an issue. I have to figure this out. But in the concept of worry, to worry means to put energy towards the worst possible outcome before it's even happened, right? We're thinking about the worst possible things. We're worried about what's going to happen in the future, right? Unless you are a white supremacist on the education board in the state of Florida who's worried about what happened in the past and not wanting that to get out. It's not very common for people to worry about the past. We usually worry about the future. And the concept of non-stealing means that I won't take away my ability to experience this world with agency. I won't take away my ability to experience this world with an awareness and a consciousness that is expanded beyond my ego and my immediate condition, um, and looking deeper into understanding who I truly am. And that's, in the Bible, it says, it had you but the faith of a mustard seed. And I never understood that as a kid, because mustard seeds are small. So I was always taught that that's about if you even had the smallest amount of faith. But I don't think that that's exactly what that means. Maybe it is, but to me, understanding now what the faith of a mustard seed means is from that tiny seed grows forth this amazing plant, this medicinal plant, this plant that will propagate itself endlessly, It will survive really harsh conditions. And from that tiny seed, you'll get food, medicine, you'll get ground cover, like all of the things that plant offers. The world comes out of that tiny seed. Had you but the faith of a mustard seed, meaning if you really knew what you were becoming, if you really knew what you were becoming, you wouldn't worry. And that's Bob Marley. Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's going to be all right. This is a man facing down multiple governments who would rather see him dead than being who he was, and they attempted that many times. We're talking about a man who was up against a multiple countries of extreme racist systems wherever he went in a white country or a country that has been colonized. Um, you know, he would face uh, certain discrimination, and here he is uniting millions of people, right? Millions of people for the promise of peace through liberation. And his prophetic teachings, I think, were much deeper and more grounded than many of us have maybe given credence to. But of course he's revered. Of course, he's one of the most inspirational figures of the 20th century. Any modern scholar, musician, anybody's there, you put on Bob Marley, they're gonna be happy about it. It's ubiquitous, right? It's everywhere, like a mustard seed, right? You can see a field full of mustard that came from one mustard seed. Had you but the faith of a mustard seed, he said. So I was thinking about that this morning on my drive here. Sometimes we find out difficult things. A family member of ours is dying, and his name is Henry, and he is a border collie who's been in the family for a lot of years, and an amazing story. And he's been an amazing friend and family member to many, but especially to my brother Mike and my nieces and nephew. And he's at the end of his road. He's at the end of his journey this week. And we found that out this morning as I was driving, and I was talking to my son about Bob Marley. And it was like this amazing example of how large we are. So much is happening, so much pain, so much beauty, so much celebration, so much mourning, all of it happening at any moment. And to just be here for it is the gift. To just be here for it. So that's what I was thinking about today. I was thinking that I'm really grateful to Henry for the life that Henry had and the life that Henry brought. And I'm really grateful to Bob Marley for the life that Bob Marley had and the life that Bob Marley brought. Pardon me. And I'm really grateful to the teachers in my life who have just been sharing what their heart held to share, and it was exactly what I needed in that moment. I think that's a wonderful thing. And I don't know where I would be with different teachers, but I'm glad that I had the ones that I've had. And Rasta Bob Marley is one of those teachers, and I'm in love. So I think we'll just take a few breaths today. Maybe we can come together and have some shared breath. So if you want to join me, you're welcome to. The first thing that we want to do is allow our bodies to settle and allow our minds to come into unison with what our body is doing in this moment. Because when we are aligning our thoughts with our actions, we are present. So the one thing we're going to do always is we're going to breathe. We're going to breathe to live. We're going to breathe to bring movement into our bodies. This is the animus. This is the spiritus. This is the breath. So bringing our awareness to our breath by settling our bodies. If you're seated as I am with your feet on the floor in a chair, try to find the way of holding your body that has the most balance. And that means the place of the least amount of stress or strain. So find yourself seated, maybe on a cushion or pillow to help sit on your sits bone to straighten your spine and elongate your body. Let your shoulders relax. Bring your shoulder blades together just slightly in the back. Palms resting gently on your lap. If you'd like to close your eyes, you can close your eyes or leave them open with a soft gaze just a few feet in front of the body. And breathing in through the nose to the bottom of the belly. And breathing in. And releasing. And releasing. Breathing in. And letting go. Just be with your breath, just for a few moments. Feel the body as it accepts and receives this breath. Where do you feel the breath in your body? Become curious about your experience of just this next breath. Feel the sensations radiating out from your heart, through your arms, legs, whatever your body is giving you for sensation right now. Just go with the breath, the body, and let the mind settle into this action of being. When we are focused so intently on this moment and on this breath, there's no room for worry or fear. There's no place for regret. In this moment, who you truly are is breathing in and breathing out. That's all. We don't find peace, we allow peace. So allow the peace to move from your heart through your body and into the world with each in-breath and out-breath. And let your awareness move through your body, gently bringing down any defenses or stuck places you may find, opening your heart to receive, just in this breath, just in this breath. And when you're ready, you can begin to bring movement back into your hands and your feet, keeping your awareness exactly in this body. Feel the sensation of the body moving, of the breath coming in and out of the body. And don't worry about a thing right now. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And bring joy into your heart in just this moment to honor Bob Marley, to honor his legacy, his music, his wisdom, his prophecies. Just honor that with joy and by being present today. Hold that in your heart, that little spark. No bigger than the size of a mustard seed. Thanks for joining, everyone, here at Journey Home Meditation. I really appreciate you. Feel free to reach out, journeyhomemeditation@gmail.com. I'm Michael. Hariom.